So today we're going to talk about how to close big, juicy, fat, stuck deals with multiple parties. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I'm really excited today for today's show because that spells opportunity. But before we jump in today's show, I want to remind you, if you have ever wondered what to say to a motivated seller, you didn't know how to qualify them or whether you should spend your time with them or the questions to ask, I've got a gift for you. Head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you can get a copy of the very script that I've used to close over 1,300 transactions in my real estate business, and the script that I've used to train thousands of the best investors across the country. So go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script, and that's my gift to you. So go ahead and download that today. So today's show again came in from a listener. So thank you for sending that in. We're going to play that and then address how to make a lot of money with this opportunity right in front of us.
Hey, Todd. It's Adam out of Bakersfield, California. So I've been working with a probate case. They haven't, so just to let you know, there's about maybe 5 different parties involved. 2 of them can make the decision. I've met up with them a couple times. We've texted a couple times back and forth. They're interested in selling the property. So I know what the next step would be to get them out and to get an attorney to start the probate process, but they're stuck. So what would be the next step for me to give them a call and, talk to them?
So great question, Adam from Bakersfield. And I tell you what, it's ironic that you're Adam from Bakersfield because the deal that I'm going to talk about today actually is kind of in your neck of the woods in Victorville. And, whenever you got deals like this, there's multiple people involved. There's a probate, there's a lot of confusion going on. That spells opportunity because many investors are going to look at it and the sellers are not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what to do. And so there's this frustration and people just kind of throw up their hands. And so I've got a great story today, real life in the trenches. And I've talked about this deal a lot, but this deal was in Victorville and I wound up buying it for $10,000 because of a situation like this. Mom had passed away and there were 4 or 5 siblings. 3 of them were just living in the property, but this thing was just totally run down and abandoned. There was no water that was on. There was all kinds of city condemnations on the thing, all kinds of code violations, giant mess. And these people had tried to get probate, getting started, but so many people involved and they just didn't know what to do next. And so one of the things that my mentor taught me was, Todd, whenever you got a situation, you've got to lead, right? There's no one leading here because everyone wants their money. Everyone wants to be done with this. So go in there, make it happen, lead the charge and get the deal done because people don't know what to do. And so we had someone go out to the property, explain the process and say, listen, we're going to hire the probate attorney. We need all of you on the same page. You guys don't need to do anything except for sign the paperwork. And obviously you understand the transaction, but we're going to send this to the attorney. But what we need is your participation. Meaning if we ask you to sign something, you've got to sign it. If you've got to go to court, you've got to go to court. If we need you to be available and answer a question, you've got to make that happen. But what's really important, if you guys want this to happen, again, I need your participation. That's very, very important. Can you give me that commitment? Have them looking you in the eye, okay, and get that commitment. That's what we did here. So, we had 5 people and at least one person out of the 5 was completely crazy and off the wall. But eventually we got them on board. And this is going to be a little bit of work, right? There's a little bit of massaging here, but the profit should be commensurate with the work. So my first, my first recommendation here is if you've got one of these big stuck deals, make sure you're making real money on this. For us, we were trying to make $80,000 on this deal. And so my recommendation to you is do the same, right? Make sure it's got enough profit on the end for you to be dealing with this. So for this right here, we got everyone on the same page. Once we got their commitment, we got the purchase agreement signed, we got their verbal commitment that they were going to participate. We then called the attorney. Okay. We got the attorney involved, gave them all the contact information for everybody, right? The phone numbers, email, addresses, right? We said that these people are going to participate. And then we said we had got the commitment for the attorney on a timeline of what it was going to take to get this done, right? So notice I'm leading the sellers or the beneficiaries of the probate, and then I'm also leading the attorney, and I'm driving that. Okay, what we agreed to is the attorney would handle all the probate work up front, right, without us having to put any money into the probate. All right, so long story short, not a dollar went out of our pocket. We then finally got it done. Okay, everyone got to the table and everyone got their money. We paid $10,000 for the property. We got it cleaned out, right? And then we sold it. I think it was like for like $90,000 or $95,000, and we wound up making 80 G's on the place, right? Oh, and by the way, that was net. Great deal. Nobody else wanted to touch this deal. So, how do you do these stuck deals, right? Hopefully, you learned a little bit from that real life scenario. And again, that one was in Victorville, California. Is you sound like there's 5 people involved in your scenario. And that's the first thing that you have to do, right? Identify all of the players. Don't take the seller's word for it. Dig deep, right? So you said, well, 2 people are making the decision. Well, what does that mean, right? Does that mean 2 people think they're in charge and the other 3 people are kind of there? Does that mean that 2 people are the trustee, and the trustee means that they have the legal authority to sell the property? So define that, right? I don't care what it is, but just define who the players are. Because if you have a trustee and there's 4 siblings, you don't even need to go through an attorney, right? At that point, the trustee can make that entire decision. Doesn't matter about the other 4, right? And they could, then use their influence and their, and you could help them along here, right? But they could be diplomatic, right, in getting the property sold. Maybe you need to coach them in handling the verbal abuse that they're going to get from their siblings, which is all stuff that happens in an inheritance or a probate situation. Very, very, very common. So you got to find out whether this is a probate deal where you're going to have to take it to the courts, or if this is just where there's actual trustees and you got to get everyone on the same page. If you do that, and if you coach them to handle the verbal abuse, if there's going to be it, or that process, they may just need help getting to the closing table. They also may need help understanding that they don't need legal authority from the other 4 beneficiaries if they're the trustee, right? If they have that legal obligation. Now, I'm just assuming that that's not necessarily a probate case. That's inheritance, where one person is in charge if that's in a trust. But let's go to probate. And probate means that there's probably no will, and the property was just left to, or there's a son or a daughter or a sibling, and the property is going to be left to them after someone passes away. And that's when it has to go into the legal process. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step scenario to do this. And I'm going to tell you, these are some of my favorite deals. I call them pre-probate cases here. Is number 1, define it. Number 2 is you have to get a probate, right? Attorney. So you need to lead this. You need to have that attorney in your pocket. And so tell the sellers, hey, listen, I'm going to handle this entire process for you. You have to participate. I'm going to bring my attorney here. You're not going to have to put anything out up front, right? You'll have to pay on the back end when the deal is done, but you don't have to worry about it up front, right? And I'm going to need your participation. Then tell them that they're going to have to get their siblings on board if there are siblings, because in a probate case, almost always, if there's siblings, it's not one person's property more than the other. And so no matter what they say, there may be some family issues like, mom said the house was going to go to me. If it's not on paper, no, she didn't, right? So you need to explain that. Then you need to ask the person that you're dealing with, hey, is anyone going to be a problem here? And just know that in advance going in, okay? Then, once you kind of have all the parties involved, send all the contact information to the attorney, get the probate going. Keep that driving. If you get everyone a group text, even better. Now, depending on what state you're in, maybe you can get the probate done in 4 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, okay? But once that's done, then title is conveyed. But you have to drive this process. You have to drive the attorney, and you have to drive the sellers. They need to be told what to do in this case, because if they didn't know that, they would have gotten this deal done without you. Now, this may sound complicated and it's a lot of work. Yes. And that's why they should be big, fat, juicy deals. And that's why you should participate in them, because your competition doesn't have the leadership to handle this. They don't have the organization. They don't have the mindset. But you, okay, you listen to this show and you are a strategic, intelligent investor who listens to this show, who gets these deals done that other people won't. What I love about this is that, again, you don't have any competition because other people, you just have to focus on yourself. Okay. So the next time you get a deal stuck, and that just does not only go for a probate, identify the parties involved, identify what has to happen, and then drive that to execution. And you are going to find that your deals close bigger and faster. Whenever you feel that deal getting stuck, right? Stuck, in this case, it was a probate, but just implement that strategy. And I promise you, okay, you're going to either push that deal away because it's actually dead and you don't have to spend any more time on it, or you're going to reel in a big, big, big fish. Don't forget to head over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. Also, if you would like your question answered, head on over, leave an email to support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, or you could hit me up on Instagram at Todd Toback. Talk to you soon.